Folks, the world just got a final warning. Over the last 48 hours, Iran has been sending missiles all over the Middle East with massive missile strikes throughout major population centers and most notably Pakistan. After months of heightening tension, Iran is finally taking this to the next level and is warning of something much bigger. Meanwhile, the United States is ramping up counterattacks in the Red Sea. We're going to discuss exactly what you need to know about all of this and what is expected to happen next. And then, of course, we'll be capping off the video with a discussion on the latest of the market and plays. Markets are indeed in a funk right now, but traders are making tons and tons of moolah playing certain areas of the market. What are they? And why did this specific penny stock that we briefed on yesterday morning in ZipTrader U go absolutely parabolic? What does ticker symbol PHUN have to do with anything, and why did it run on a specific catalyst, and what was that catalyst? We're going to let you know all of these things. Make sure to stay until the very end. Okay, so as I mentioned, Iran has started striking cities in neighboring countries. They just sent multiple missile strikes to Haram, Syria, Erbil, Iraq, and most notably to Kosab's Pakistan, all centers of anti-Iran militant groups, of which Iran describes as, quote, headquarters of spies, unquote. 10 of the strikes headed towards Erbil, Iraq, fell right next to a U.S. consulate. Iran is claiming the reason for these attacks is that they are retaliating for the major bombing that happened earlier this month during the Qasem Soleimani memorial event that left nearly 100 people dead. But this is a much bigger story than just that. Iran has long accused foreign powers, particularly the United States and Israel, of engaging in espionage activities on its soil. By launching the missile strikes on the alleged headquarters, Iran aims to send a clear message that it will not tolerate what it sees as external interference. A message that it's even willing to strike sovereign nations if need be. And of these three major strikes, this one in Pakistan is proving to be the most problematic. Unlike Iraq and Syria, Pakistan is a pretty big standalone force on its own and a neutral, if not friendly, ally to Iran. Striking here is an even louder message. Sending missiles into their territory is a massive violation of any kind of partnership they have as neighboring countries. This is what the former Prime Minister of Pakistan said. Quote, I am shocked at the Iranian breach of Pakistani sovereignty. This missile attack is against spirit of our friendship and principles of good neighborliness, especially as it undermines the historic relationship between our two countries. And so now you have Pakistan warning of consequences and considering a retaliation as this overall Middle East conflict continues to spread to neighboring country after neighboring country. And if Iran is willing to grossly violate Pakistan's borders, then it is willing to violate more and more countries' borders and drive more and more players in the Middle East into direct conflict, which is exactly what all of the big players and analysts here in the United States were fearing when those original October 7th attacks happened and the retaliation from Israel happened. This is a game of consistent escalation, and that is exactly what's happening. Next, so as you know, the U.S. has been counter-striking the Houthis in Yemen to protect the Red Sea trading route, this area here. These airstrikes have been incredibly effective so far. Quote, the U.S. and UK airstrikes have cut off key supply lines from Iran to the Houthis in Yemen, Bloomberg reported, citing Western officials. The sources told the outlet that Iran has not been able to replenish Houthi rebels with weapons via sea routes since the strikes. Now remember, these Houthis are not just fighting an offensive battle in the Red Sea, but they're also fighting just to stay in Yemen. And they need these weapons and supplies. They don't only need them to continue to attack these Western ships, but they also need them to fight the internationally recognized and US-backed Yemeni government army and the Saudi coalitions who also want to drive them out of Yemen. Now, for many years, Iran had been giving them a steady supply of weapons, supplies, training, and other types of help via these routes. But now they no longer can, which means the Houthis may for the first time be at threat of losing their ground in Yemen, which is a great thing for the West. This development marks a significant turning point in Yemen. With the absence of a reliable supply of weaponry, the Houthi rebels may find it increasingly challenging to hold their ground against the Yemeni government and, of course, the Saudis. The disruption of supply lines threatens to weaken the rebels' position and potentially tilt the balance of power in favor of the Yemeni government forces and the West. Next, let's go ahead and move on to the market. So we got another bleh day in the 2024 markets. Markets heading quickly down to that previous sell-off support at 46.82. Once you hit that, the selling can become quite contagious though and bring us another leg or two down. But until you break that support, we are still technically in a stagnation cycle. Alternatively, if we can break out of those cycle highs at 48.02 from a few days ago, well, we can retake momentum and restart the beautiful momentum cycle that we've had the last few months. So in other words, we're still stuck in a wait and see market. I see a lot of people on financial media already saying, hey, we're in a massive sell-off. Well, that's just not true. We've been stagnating near highs. We're also not in a massively buy market like we were a couple weeks ago either. We're stagnating within like the same exact range. You just go up and then you sell, and then you go up and then you sell, and it just goes back and forth. Meanwhile, you also have a lot of back and forth about rate hikes and cuts and higher for longer talk. You have some looking at hot retail data and suggesting that that means the Fed won't cut as fast as expected, and others looking at layoff data and suggesting that the Fed will cut much faster. Companies across various sectors have been and are continuing to implement workforce reductions, which markets are having a hard time comprehending whether that's good or bad. But while markets overall aren't really moving that much, they're stagnating. Well, where we are seeing opportunities are in catalyst plays. For example, yesterday we alerted FHUN for those in ZipTrader U at about 12 cents a share in the morning, and it ran to about 48 cents at highs. Yes, it dumped in the after hours, but folks had nearly half the trading day to lock in insane profits during the uptrend. And I mean, quite frankly, even if you caught just half the move, this was an insane play. A lot of people like to say you should never trade stocks that go up really, really massively because they could dump. But what if you can lock in the profits before they dump, or even worse yet, halfway through the dump? Well, who cares? As long as you got a decent entry price and you're able to make a profit, then it's a fair game. For people that like to buy and hold until they're 200 years old, that's fine. That's another strategy you can do with different types of stock. But you can't do that with these types of stock. You have to do that with the stocks that move maybe 10% a year. Catalyst plays run really fast because they're reacting to something in real time. And people overreact. That's how human emotions work. The reason FUN, PHUN, ran so much was because Trump had a win in Iowa, and FUN is a stock that runs nearly any time there is a substantial Trump campaign announcement. FUN is apparently forever linked to Trump because it had a previous contract with the Trump campaign to design a phone app, and so every single time something new comes out about the campaign that is suggesting a positive win and perhaps more contracts for FUN, well, all of a sudden FUN goes up a lot, and people know that, so it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. But yes, this ran from our briefing price at about 12 cents to 48 cents at highs, which is about a 4x. And while, of course, not all of our briefing ideas run, the truth is that this is a benefit of being a ZipTrader U member. You get to be introduced to new ideas and catalysts each and every morning the market is open, so that you are on the front page with some of the hottest catalysts every morning. In order to play catalyst stocks, you got to be able to find the catalyst, so if you're not able to do that, well, this is one of the resources that we offer to help you with it. If you'd like to join us and become a lifetime ZipTrader U member, I will put the link to that down below. Coupon code HELLO2024 will get you 50% off, and that is good for both ZipTrader U and ZipTrader Options. If you want the morning briefings, you got to join ZipTrader U though. In terms of other updates, Lovely Mara continues to consolidate to levels that are, in my view, a killer deal considering that we are in a year of Bitcoin halving, and Bitcoin halving does tend to lead to really positive performance. That's in addition to continued institutional adoption as a result of the ETF approval. Now, as Lovely Mara broke previous support at around $20, she's been in a panic sale. That's fine. Better dips for recovery plays to the upside. Remember, the farther this goes down, the cheaper those higher strike calls are getting, which means better and better deals. Folks, you got to keep in mind, if you're playing something based on a cyclical event that takes place over a couple months or more, well, then you have a lot more wiggle room for things to dump and play recoveries. A lot of people love to take a really long-term approach to short-term plays, and a lot of people like to take a really short-term approach to longer-term plays. And that is like the reverse of what you should be doing. If you find a play that's over medium term, like with Mara, or a longer term like maybe with a Palantir cycle, well, you can't have that mindset that this needs to go where you want it in a day or two. You have to have a broader mindset because when it dips, that's a recovery play. And if you don't actually believe that it's a recovery play and you don't like buying the dip, you're not excited when something dips, you're not excited to play a rebound, whether that's with shares or options, well, guess what that means? It means you don't even like the thesis of the stock and you should avoid it anyways. So with Mara, I mean, if you don't believe in Mara and you're not happy as she dips because you think, oh, she'll never come back, well, obviously this wasn't a play that you should have ever been in the first place because you don't believe in your thesis. In terms of the fundamental argument here, I mean, Mara has consistently expanded her mining capacity by deploying some pretty crazy state-of-the-art mining rigs. They just had a catalyst about this released the other day. And by increasing the number of mining rigs, of course, that allows Lovely Mara to mine more and more Bitcoin, leading to higher potential revenue down the road. And of course, also allows her to stack up more and more Bitcoin on the sheet, which after if halving continues to have the historical back trend of causing Bitcoin appreciation, well, that should benefit Mara quite a lot. Meanwhile, moving on, the VIX is continuing to go up, not as fast as I thought, but she is breaking out past her double top and building on it. We did call out VIX and VIX options specifically as a hedge against Mara dumping and SPY not pumping, and so far that has been solid. In terms of specific plays on this, on January 7th, we called out VIX 15 strike calls expiring March 20th, and those at the time were trading at a range of $2.34 to $2.44. Yes, they've appreciated a bit, nothing crazy, but I mean, they've appreciated a bit, and I continue to see those as a way to go heading into a larger VIX breakout, which I believe is shaping up to happen before you get a rebound of the SPY pump, Mara pump, Bitcoin pump. Moving on, uranium trade has been a little bit of a sleeper with a couple of day sell-off with a nice support test coming soon and a nice rebound expected. I would keep an eye on Euro and call options for the next upswing there. Anyways, that caps off today's video. Make sure to let us know in the comment section down below your favorite plays. Which ones are they, why, and how far do you see them going? Let us know down below. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you in the next video.